I wanted to change the world. The whole continent was going up in flames, wars, civil wars, all kinds of revolutions. And I wanted to do something for my people. I wanted to be part of a revolution of love where Jesus is the biggest revolutionary. He changes the heart, he changes man from the inside out. When we first brought the Jesus film in El Salvador, we were right in the middle of the Civil War. And we felt that this message of the gospel in the film would make a difference. So we decided to recruit young people from churches to go around the country, and we had a big map, and we scheduled that every single centimeter of the country would hear the gospel through the Jesus film. In the next 2 years, we did it. And I had the privilege of being part of the first section of that plan. And we would go with donkeys or wheelbarrows or old pickup trucks. So we would go to a village. And I remember one time in the eastern part of the country where the war was raging almost everywhere, we went to this small village, and there was a big soccer field right in the middle. And there's hills and mountains around it. And there was no electricity. People were very scared about the war and all the things. But they were happy that somebody brought entertainment. So I think the whole village came to watch the film. So we waited until it was a little bit dark, and so we started showing the film. And people were very interested. They came. I think by now the whole town is watching the film, the soccer field. When we began to hear the jet bombers began to circle, and everybody started running. They disappeared. And we run after them too, forget the equipment, we run for our lives. The planes began to bomb the hills that were less than 5 kilometers away from us. And you could hear the explosions. And you could feel it in your heart, the boom, every time a bomb exploded. Well, after maybe 10 or 15 minutes, seems like the planes ran out of bombs and they went away, no more noise. And little by little, people began to come back. By this time it was dark, completely dark. And some had flashlights, others had candles. And we went to the equipment to make sure that everything was set there. And people began to come and say, we want to watch the rest of the movie. And please show the rest of the movie. And so we did. It was literally under the bombs that we showed the film that evening in that little town. It was incredible. We were young. We didn't know what we were doing for the most part. We only knew one thing. We wanted to change the world. And this message of the gospel was helping people to see things differently. Whole villages were impacted by the power of the gospel in those days during the war. And so by the end of the first 2 years, we could trace in the map that every single municipality, every single village of the country have seen the Jesus film. During that decade, we counted over 6 million exposures in a country that is only had 5 million people, because we went twice. And the second time we went around, we found that many churches were started after we showed the film. It was not our intention to plant churches. We didn't have time. We just went from village to village. But we counted over 900 churches that we started. Not on purpose. God did it on His own purpose. And so, when we did a study with other organizations, at the beginning of the decade, in the 1980s, believers in El Salvador were less than 5% of the population. In the mid-90s, 48% of the population of El Salvador were born-again believers. This happened in less than 20 years because there were a lot of courageous young people. I was so privileged to be part of this revolution. And so I saw what the purpose of God calling me to join this ministry as missionary. I saw it fulfilled. God called me to change the world, and we saw this part of the world change. I wanted to be part of a revolution of love where Jesus is the the biggest revolutionary. He changes the heart. He changes man from the inside out. And I think that's part of the church. The Bible says we have been given the ministry of reconciliation. Just like God has, through Jesus, brought reconciliation between God and man, I think we have part of that ministry is that we have to go where there is conflict and somehow try to bring together the parties to seek reconciliation. That's the only way to heal the wounds that these conflicts produce.